Okay, so everybody's mic's good? All good? You,
Hello,
Justin?
everybody.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. Okay, hello everyone. Let me put the attendance here on the chat. Okay, that's the link to the chat for the attendance right in the chat. Okay. Today we have a special guest speaker, Justin. He's a nursing student at UAC. And he actually went here at UAC as an undergrad, and he's here to tell us more about his experiences to where he is right now. So take it away, Justin.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Justin. I'm actually still in the program. I'm graduating in May. So I guess, do you want to know how to get into the program, or just like how the healthcare field works? Like, So I guess okay. So I'll just give us a quick story.
Mhm.
I'm Filipino. If you don't know how Filipinos are, we're practically all nurses. I became a nurse because I wanted to be a nurse, not because I was indoctrinated. I kind of was indoctrinated, but it wasn't fully. It was a free will choice. So back in high school, I did a CNA class, and I did it like my junior year summer. So then by the time I got my license, it was senior year fall in high school, and then I started working at a nursing home as a CNA. And my time there, I realized I developed a passion for nursing by teaching other CNA students who were having clinicals at my nursing home. And so being there, it taught me skills of how to interact with people, patients, faculty, and it taught me how I want. It showed me, it guided me, and showed me that this is my profession. I should do this. So later on, I go to college here at UIC. At UIC for the nursing program, you had to apply your sophomore year, and depending on if you make it or not, you either have to repeat or not. So upcoming sophomore, or I guess my freshman year, no, my sophomore year, I got a new job at a hospital as a PCT. Um, didn't get the job at first, and then I found out my aunt worked there, and then she was like, "Oh, put my name down." A week later, I got the job. It was it was practically that easy. I feel like getting a job nowadays and having connections is very important. So if you want to find me on LinkedIn, just look at my name. By the way, I'll add you on LinkedIn, and then we can talk. That being said, uh, sorry, just some water real quick. So yeah, so then I applied to the hospital. I've been working at that hospital, same hospital at Resurrection, for probably I think two years now. Um, if you apply to any of the META branches, you can also use my name as a reference. I don't know how much credit I hold, but I think I hold a lot of credit at my hospital specifically. Um, so yeah, then I applied to nursing school. I got into nursing school. I've been in nursing school for 2 years, about to finish, and then I've been working at the hospital for a few years, as I said. And in that hospital, I have worked in almost every single unit besides OBGYN, and so just pretty much birth. Uh, and that's pretty much it. I worked in every single unit besides that. So I've worked in oncology, med surg, orthopedics, telemetry, ICU, emergency department. So I would say I'm a very visual person. I watch people. I like to watch. I like to people watch, and I like to observe and take in everything that's going around me. So if anyone here has questions, or if anyone wants to make a question, whatever, I can speak on behalf of nurses, physical therapists, doctors. I can't like speak up, but I could speak on what I know, and I feel like it's my information is more valuable, knowing that I've seen through it and been through it and worked with the medical team. Um, and yeah, so if you're curious about places I've been to as in clinicals, I've been to Advocate Health in Oaklawn, Northwestern downtown at Memorial Hospital, UI Health, and uh, and that's pretty much it. I had community health, but like if you're curious about community health, by the way, and like what community health is, I don't mind helping out. And then the fourth one, my upcoming clinicals is going to be at the Veterans Hospital on Damon, but I haven't been there. But I do know how it is kind of there, ish. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much my story, and uh, yeah. Anyone have any questions or input? Are we all just chilling? This is what it feels like to be a teacher, and everyone's like cameras are off. This is great.
You can ask questions like turn on your mic, or you just send them to them directly. Hmm.
Yeah, you guys do you.
I'll start. So just like for example, during your college years or your undergraduate years, what were some of the things that you volunteered for or at, or like what was your undergrad like in terms of like volunteering?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, I didn't really do any volunteer work because I considered my real work as actual work. Like I considered my work as volunteer to society because not everyone wants to be a senior PCT. And so instead of putting my hours into volunteer work, I would work instead, or I would do student orgs. So I did FIA, the Filipino Student Organization, here at USC for like a semester or two, and then I did uh, HOSA. I was in charge of HOSA, but then like it kind of died out because we just didn't have enough members and COVID happened, and then so we just pretty much stopped it. If anyone else has started when I leave, sure. So I would work maybe like 2, 3 times a week, maybe sometimes not even like maybe once a week, because if you know who I am or you see my social media, I'm very out and about with life. Like not now as much as I was back then, but like I'm very out more like playing volleyball, rock climbing, like going downtown just walking or just biking around the city. So to answer your question, I don't volunteer as much. If I have a group of friends, I'll do it. I'll do it, but I never chart it. I just do it for goodwill. Like I just do it because it's like, oh, it's like that do good, feel good kind of phenomenon. So there's really no point of me. Like I just do it, and then I work just to work to get the money and then get the experience. Okay, so someone's asked me a question. The person's asking, I'm going to take a CNA course this summer, and I was wondering if you have any tips or advice. So I took the CNA class back in the summer, like back way, but back when. But I'm not gifted. I don't think I'm gifted. I had to put in the work for what I had to do. I think CNA is pretty basic as in terms of care. Um, it's because we don't do that much stuff until like so. I guess by textbook, you're not allowed to do that much stuff. Once you've been in the hospital for a while and your nurses or who your team trusts you to do certain skills that are not by the book, but they're by the book. Like I'm not saying I do it, but I'm saying people done it or whatever, whatever. So I would say the CNA course itself it takes time. Um, each facility, who like I guess instructs it, is going to be different from one another. But I majority of the people that have taken the CNA course always tend to pass. Like I think you have 3 chances to fail when you take the state exam. But honestly, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory with the exam as long as you study even like a little bit. Um, when I studied for it, I read the whole book. I did the whole book because I was tripping and I was like a junior in high school who's never took like a big exam besides it. I didn't even I took the ACT, but like I didn't even like try that hard on the ACT because I knew I was going to either community college or UIC, and you didn't need a high ACT score, and I had like a 3.5 GPA, maybe 3.4, so I was like chilling because I was also active in school. So I was like, okay, UIC is gonna accept me. So in regard to the CNA exam, I feel like you can barely study for it, not barely, but like adequate studying, and you'll be fine. Tips: I would just try to apply what you learn in class as immediately into into clinicals, because when you start doing it by hand motion, like we call this like down on, down off. It's like when you put on gloves, like the basic necessities like how to wash your hands or like put on gloves and stuff like that, how to put on your PPE. Once you start to get in the habit of like doing it like in muscle memory, it's gonna be much easier for the exam, as well as if you learn shit that like that's in if you learn stuff like from people like in clinicals, just remind yourself how to do it right. And if you do it their way, just remember the right way to do it is like this, but they do it like that. Just you'll get in the habit of everyone has their own way. But by the state exam, there's only really one way to go about it. Another tip and advice is if when in doubt, go to the nurse. When in doubt, always go to the nurse if there's a problem. Okay. So Okay, so the next question is, okay, also thank you for answering all these asking questions. I'm so happy. Um, did you ever consider any other career paths? So I was kind of set on nursing. Okay, low key, I really wanted to pursue a career in volleyball if I could. I'm not that athletic, but like if I had the opportunity to play professional volleyball abroad, I would definitely go for it. I mean, obviously, there's no point because I'm not that good. Like Diego's on the team right now, and Diego's like significantly better than me. So like, I just thought about it, like going abroad and doing that. But other career, like realistically, career paths, I've thought of, I've thought of doing like informatics and doing consulting. But with nursing, the reason I stuck with nursing is because with nursing, you could do so many paths. If I wanted to drop nursing and do real estate, I could. And actually, recently, I've been wanting to do real estate and invest into properties and do that when I graduate in a year. So that has been like a new, I guess, admiration of mine to do. I know one of my friends. She's been a nurse for 2 years and she just quit her job and is now a consultant for a company, and she's just like a healthcare consultant. She gets paid practically the same, works 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and will drive around the Midwest every so often, and we'll just do Zoom calls like this and says, "Yeah, the product's okay, but I think this product could be better." And they're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, because of this, like healthcare standpoint, nursing implications because of this." So I really didn't think of much of another job besides as and I want to be a nurse, like at the end of the day, but there's so many pathways to be as a nurse. You can do so many things. Um, so how long does it take to get a CNA certificate and how is this process like? So what's up? So to become a CNA, how long does it take? I think it takes 2 to 3 months. It depends how fast you take it because there's sometimes an accelerated, a basic, or a short. Sorry. Um, so so yeah. Um, so it could last a couple months, like 2 or 3 months, or it can last you maybe a month or two, depending how many days you go. So you can go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and your class will be 8 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon or longer, and then you'll have clinical Saturday, Sunday. But that was my facility. So each facility could be different. You really had to do the research upon it. Um, that being said, it's it really it. Let me look at Facebook. Sorry. Um, yeah, it just depends on the facility. So I would inquire to multiple facilities and figure out what works best for you. I personally think you could do. I personally feel like people our age who don't have that many responsibilities and who are. I feel like everyone in this chat right now is pretty fast at learning, and I guess I would say, yeah, a good fast learner, and we can handle like I guess like fast courses. I'd recommend doing the fast track because time is of the essence. You know, like you take the class, you had to take the state exam, and so on. That being said, with the CNA course, guys, if you take the CNA course and you finish the class on the 29th, you could take the state exam the following month. But say you take the state exam, you take the class exam and you pass the class on the 5th, you had to take the state exam the next month. Does that make sense? So like the state exam is always going to be in the next month after the month you took the class. So have that in mind. Like when you finish the class, because say the month you finish the class, you could take the state exam the following month afterwards. Okay. So how have clinicals helped you prepare you? So clinicals. So this is bad. I feel like to say, but it is what it is. It's like you have to always throw yourself out there, and the mistakes you make it's gonna happen, but you might as well make the mistakes while you're with a nurse, right? And if you make a mistake, it's not on you, it's on the nurse, your student nurse, your nurse preceptor. And like as shitty as it is to say, it's like it's true, because if you're making the mistake and they're watching you, and then like say the charge nurse finds out about that mistake, it's like who's really to blame here, you or the nurse? And it's also like I would say clinicals prepared me somewhat, but it really hasn't prepared me that much for like the real world, because I feel like in nursing itself, you have it's more what's it called? It's more in person. It's like on the job training. You learn a lot on the job, but there's like the basic needs like how to do suction catheter, how to insert a catheter, how to insert an IV. Those are like you can learn it so much like in lab, but actually being muscle memory is like so difficult. And like for me, I'm one of the peers who've learned how to insert catheters. I've suctioned trachs. I've helped put in trachs. I put in IVs. My skills are still very ass, but I'm a very above like I'm above others in my class because I've had the opportunity to do that because of my job. So clinicals, you're with clinicals though. I don't know if is everyone in here pre-med, Jaime? Is this like pre-med student work? I forget.
Like a good I'd say like a good of variety. It's a little bit of
Okay.
everything.
Okay. So with that being said, like um uh clinicals prepares you a lot for patient interactions. If you've never talked to a patient, like if you struggle having small talk or saying here in class, imagine just doing that to talking to a patient. Because if you can't say here in class or just like say hi to someone like walking down the street, like I have no problem doing that. I even had I played rock paper scissors with a guy next to me while I was driving, while we were parked at a stoplight. Like if you're not able to do that, think about like not being able to talk to a patient. So clinicals, I say if you've never worked, do prepare for that aspect. Um, with the skills, it somewhat makes you orientated, but it doesn't make you like perfect or like I guess prestigious and like knowing how to do it compared to actually doing it every day. So Ashley's asking, what's your favorite unit to work in? So my favorite unit to work in, I would say, is the emergency department. If you've ever been in a hospital, you'll notice there's a lot of guys in the ICU and the emergency department. I don't know what's up about it, but a lot of people like working in the emergency department who are guys and the ICU. I want to work in that unit not because of the guy, like the environment, but because I love interacting with people. I love interacting with people. I love knowing the fact that I'm having an impact on your life, positive or negative, whatever. I'm here. After we leave this call, I made an impact on you, hopefully, or just talk to you, hopefully. Um, I also like the critical thinking. I love being on the job. I love I love the fact is I can control the situation. Not meaning like I'm a fucking dom, but like I'm saying like as in I'm the one who's helping you in your this moment. I'm the one stabilizing you. If you're having a heart attack, I'm the one who's either doing chest compressions, I'm administering medications. I'm the one either giving orders, receiving orders. It's that critical, fast-paced thinking. That's what makes me enjoy being in the emergency department. If I were not to work in the emergency department, I would most likely work in the ICU. But for me, the ICU is the patients are either, well, they're usually all in comatose, some majority of the time, or they're all like stable enough where it's like you kind of just stabilize them and monitor them and you just keep them on track. And yes, it's a lot of busy work, but it's like more mental than physical busy work, I feel like. I mean, the ED is physical and mental, but like in the ICU, it's more just mental draining, as in you just have to keep constantly checking on your patient. You had to make sure the medications are right. You had to deal with 12 IV pulls because fucking Dr. Bumblefuck gave this patient 20 meds. And of the 20 meds, he really needs one, but because of the side effects, he's getting like these 5 other ones that lead to the 5 other ones. And so you had to have the knowledge of knowing how to what medications can work together and what cannot, what IV sites to use. So if I were to work in 2 units, it'd be ED first and then ICU because of the critical care and the patient interactions. So, what do you find challenging about nursing? Oh, dude, nursing school is so rough. Like, I'm, I would say in my program, I'm not like, I would say I'm not one of the best students because here I am, like, I'm about to go play volleyball. I should probably be studying and doing like some like patient care assignment for like for my peds rotation right now. But like, that's just me. I like to work under pressure and like, I kind of like procrastinate. But like, I would say the most thing I found challenging about nursing is like, I guess the time management. And for me, I would say is the sacrifices. I'm okay with making sacrifices. I know it's like I sacrifice time with friends and family, but like I feel like coming to terms with making the sacrifices is like the biggest thing. And I feel like a lot of you understand that too. But when you're in a rigorous program, I would say because I believe nursing is low-key the hardest program because one, I like the hardest major. And if you say business is the hardest major, don't talk to me. But I'm saying I would say nursing is like one of the hardest majors is because we had to deal with actual patients. We had to learn so much material in such a short amount of time. And we had to be kind of good we had to be kind of good at our job within a short amount of time because it's like the ball doesn't stop. Like we only get winter break, and then it just keeps going and keeps going, and then we just keep interacting with patients, had to learn new information, and then once you get into the nitty gritty of it, it's like you're changing type of topics. So now I'm learning acute health, and now I'm learning about pediatrics. So I had to learn how the development of a child is different in healthcare, and how we had to think about when we take care of a child. Like if we're caring for a 5-year-old, what's the difference between a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old? Developmentally. So I would say like the challenging is, so to answer your question, most challenging is making sacrifices and I guess time management, really, because especially if you're a busy person. And I feel like a lot of us are commuters and also have jobs. So trying to intermix with all of that is like is hard, especially when campus was in person. So following question is, what would you do if you felt you were struggling or failing behind in a nursing class? Oh, I'd stress eat, dude. I would stress eat so much. If I was struggling or behind in a class, I'd just stress eat. I'll just eat stress eat real quick, and then I'll like get back on top of it. Um, I'm kind of joking, but not. Uh, and if I was also like struggling or failing behind a class, I do these things where I would just take a break day or take a break hour or two, do what I thoroughly enjoy. So I like to cook, I like to play volleyball, I like to rock climb, and so when I do those things, I'll do those like real quick. So cooking, I'll make up a new dish, like I'll learn up a new recipe. I'll do that. That takes me like an hour or two, and then I'll get back on my train. You get back in that that motion, like something that you thoroughly enjoy doing, and then you're like, okay, back on track. So I usually I would just try to do something enjoyable for a short amount of time, and then try to put your train back on track, which would set you to propel you on doing well. And if say you're ever feeling lazy, do small tasks that lead and build momentum to do bigger tasks. So if you're having a shitty day or a shitty week, just do your laundry, just wash your dishes, fold your bed, brush your teeth, take a shower. Those little things, those get you into that builds momentum to do the bigger things you want to do. So like if you have a project, if you had to study for an exam, just the little things will help you say I'm being productive, and it's like helping me get better and better and better. Um, that has helped me a lot, especially with like I'm currently in the process of like encountering senioritis like on a major level right now. It's very bad. So me doing this is going to project me to have a good volleyball session, and then after volleyball, I'm gonna have a good dinner, and then I'll have a good study for a couple hours, and then go to bed. So my day has been on like constantly just being projected of positive energy, and that's why like a good advice for like I guess people who are like down on the butt is just small baby steps that lead to the bigger steps. Um, yeah. Any other questions? Anything related to healthcare, or like what kind of doctor would you suggest you do, or like the type of doctors? Does anyone know, or does anyone want to know? Uh, uh, uh.
I guess I could ask a question like, um, what has been like the most challenging thing in nursing school that you had to overcome in your experience?
Um, the most challenging thing I would say is a certain class called pharmacology, and that class is literally the worst. It's because you learn the basic amount, like pharmacology, it's like practically the drugs. So you learn about every single drug, the type of drugs. I personally don't even know all the drugs. I know the drug families ish, but like you need to know the difference between beta blockers, um, like NSAIDs, antibiotics, what like, and then there's like we spent probably a good 2 weeks on learning like type of herbs, like people like the herbs that people drink. And I was like, what the fuck are we learning? And then it just like, and then when I was working in the emergency department, I was actually like, someone's like, yeah, I I take this, and I was like, you take this? I learned about this. Oh, what? And like, it's one of those eureka moments that's kind of cool. So I would say that's like the hardest part about it. That's like the hardest thing in nursing school for me was the classes, and that class that almost all nurses will complain about is pharmacology. And if they don't, they're probably elite. I don't know. I don't think anything else is really that hard. I feel like it's like expected to be difficult, but it's not like pharmacology was expected to be difficult, but it was hard. I passed the class, but it was so difficult. I personally don't think nursing is hard, as in like patient interactions. But then again, I've been doing this for like 4 years. So, and I would say I'm a people person. So it's like me talking to anyone is like easy for me. Um, so to answer your question, Ashley, so what type of doctors do you least enjoy working with? Well, the doctors. Okay, so there's this one doctor. The doctors who are stuck up, like I had this one doctor, and I was like, "Is this your patient?" He just said GI, and I was like, I just started, so I didn't know what GI meant. But then I was like, gastrointestinal. I realized I was about the stomach later on, but like at the moment, he's like, "I'm the GI doctor," and I was like, "I don't know what that means." He's like, "How do you know what that means?" So it's the doctors who are not, I guess, who are just so on their high horse and just don't want to like come back down and like be in reality with the same person. Because once you leave that hospital, it's like you're just an average person. Like I'm not gonna think of you as a doctor. You're just another person to me. So the fact like when they're in the hospital and they have their coat on is the fact that like when they're on the high horse, it's like the fact that they can treat people rude. Um, I've also had a doctor once yell at a nurse. They yell at the nurse because he wanted her, he wanted the nurse to take the patient's catheter out because if you leave a catheter in for too long, and you need to take it out, we need to assess the amount of fluid that comes out of it. We need to assess the urine. And if there's not an amount of urine at a specific time, we have to call the doctor. So this doctor was selfish about himself, was because he didn't want to be called in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, this patient has it avoided in like 20, like in like 5 hours." And this doctor was like yelling at them, just like, "I told you to do it, you do it now." And this nurse was like, I was working in the ICU, so this nurse is like kind of like overwhelmed and overworked, I would say, because she had 2 or 3 patients. And if in the ICU, nurses should always have 1 to 2 patients, in my opinion. This nurse had, I think, 2 or 3. Even 2 is like pushing it, because 2 patients in a critical care situation is a lot, especially if they're in the ICU because you know they're specifically only critical care. Um, so I would say those are the least enjoyable doctors. I don't like working with, the ones who are like stuck up on their high horse and who are like demeaning towards other healthcare staff members. Um, but I would like to share though, I do like working with doctors who are like doing hands-on. So I like working with ED staff. The ED staff, I like working with the doctors is because they come to the patient, they actually have conversations with you, and they like talk to you and stuff like that. Um, and I've had a time where a doctor actually yelled at me because we were lifting. I was calling the shots because I usually am the big guy in the hospital. Well, I am the big guy in the hospital, and I would be like, okay, we're doing this. We're moving the patient now. So if the patient is like low on the bed, we do this thing called the lift or a boost. So I was like, all right, we're gonna boost the patient. I didn't know like how trachs really worked and how the importance of having a trach tube still was. So this patient had a trach tube in, and the respiratory therapist, the RT, had like it stabilized. So he was holding the trach in and holding the bag and like was doing bag compression. And I was like, okay, we're gonna boost the patient up so we can get more room and we're able to insert IVs if the patient codes again, blah 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 blah. I was just doing my job as in like I want to have a good environment in case something were to go bad. We have him like at least up in the bed and more comfortable and more, I guess, easier environment. So I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3, lift. The respiratory therapist was not ready for me to go. So if we moved him up and the ET tube, the trach tube came out, the ET tube came out, we would have fucked it up because now this patient isn't getting oxygen. So I could have potentially killed this patient. That being said, nothing bad happened, but in the moment, the medical professional and the ED yelled at me saying, "Don't ever do that." The one who calls the shots in this situation is always the respiratory therapist, and that is a doctor I will always admire because she scolded me, but she scolded me with educational value and life lesson value. So someone, if you're gonna yell at someone, at least teach them something out of it. And that's like the type of doctor I enjoy working with. Because if you're ever gonna scold someone or yell at them, at least teach them what they're doing wrong and tell them how to be better. Being said, I also asked, I was like, sorry, I apologized to the team and I apologized to her or they, and I asked like what would have happened, and then she educated me on that, and that's something I was very fond of, and I still have flashbacks to that. Like when I see her at work, I'm just like, fuck. Remember when I almost killed that patient? My bad. Never again though. Because you live and you learn. Like as healthcare professionals, as hopefully if you are, or not hopefully, but if you are all healthcare professionals, we are going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes in the beginning of our career, and it's a given. Statistically speaking, most of the healthcare mistakes are usually young new staff members, and I would say that's okay. But it's like it is what it is. But we could do better. But it's also like we just started. And I just started, like when I made this mistake, I was just start working in the ED every now and then. Maybe that was like I think my 5th shift, but like I just didn't know. But yeah. Anyone have any other questions? Um, anything? I don't know what else to talk about. You're good.
So you definitely feel like you've grown a lot, like from the time you started to where you are now.
Oh, dude, no, I went through like, homie, remember when my hair was short? Look at this. Look at this long hair. I've developed into like becoming a new person. 100%. I would actually say like I've had a lot of impactful moments in clinical and at work. Um, the other day, actually, I took care of the 16-year-old DCFS patient who had no like role models in his life. I don't want to go that much into it, but practically, I would say I made an impact on his life. I kind of set him straight. We talked about goals, what we wanted to do in our life, um, and and sorry, I'm at the gym right now, and I just see multiple people, and I guess I spoke about this kid. This kid was like a gangbanger, and um, I don't think I would have had the courage to speak to him as a normal nursing student who's never had clinical experience. But because of the person I am now and the person I became over this past 4 years at UIC and at work, I would say I believe I saved this kid's life. Like not saved his life, but I made a really big impact where he would turn around his life from doing gangbanging festivities and to pursuing college, actually focusing on education. I told him the importance of sacrifice and why to sacrifice and when to sacrifice. I told him the importance of college, or I wouldn't say the importance of college, but like how college can help him as well as how education can help him get him out, and how there was alternative ways of making money in the real adult world. Because I asked him, I was like, hey, do you know what college is? Do you know undergraduate? Do you know how FAFSA works? Do you know what the ACT or SAT is? And this kid's 16, right? He's like, I don't. I really don't. He's like, I've been game banging. I just haven't been focusing on school. And then I asked them, I feel like this is an important thing to ask your friends. Or I guess patients. It's like, do you have a support system? Do you have friends or family? Do you have someone you could open up to or vent to? So I go up to this kid and I was like, he asked this. He's like, no. So then I'm like, okay, I have my clinical. I'm done with my clinical. You are my patient. I got all the information I need. If you want to talk and vent to me for an hour or two, just get all your feelings out of your chest, and then like just be open with me for a little bit, and just even if you wanted to cry, you can. I didn't say cry, but he did end up crying. I like just vent to me and be your strength for an hour. I'm here for you. And then this kid, he did. Um, he opened up to me. He talked to me about his feelings. He talked to me about his past, his present, what his goals are. And to be fair, low key, I honestly, I did step over the boundaries of like a nursing student. But at the end of the day, like I understand I stepped over and I realized my mistakes, and I'll be better about it. But I'm very glad that I did that, because having seeing a kid like him who's been through so much, he's like dealt with not murder, but like he hasn't been with murder, but like he's dealt with people who have murdered around him, like drug dealing, his drug dealers in his family, blah blah blah. Being there for him in that moment, watching him cry, letting him open up his emotions at a young age is very important. And I feel like it should be important for people to open up emotionally to one another. And being able to do that was really fond of me. I was very proud of me. If I want to share. Um, and yeah, there's been other instances where I've been proud of my career, where it's like I guess my experience is like built me up to the person I am now. But that's like just so much. It's like you just see it, it happens, and then you acknowledge it for a second. I don't even remember what it is, but I know I've had these moments. The moment I just talked about was just recent, so I remembered it. But I've had these moments like multiple times where I was like, "Damn, I just made an impact on your life." All right, I'll see you later. Peace out. And then you just leave the door, and then the patient goes, and that's it. And it's not like I'm doing this for like I want the reward. It's doing it because it's like I'm doing it because it's my job, and it's like this is my calling. Like this is my what I'm meant to do, and you know it. But yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Any other questions from anybody?
Yes. Anyone questions?
I'm just curious, so like you're about to graduate your nursing school, right? So like, um, is that it for you? Do you just want to be a nurse for the rest of your life, or is there something else that you want to like accomplish other than nursing?
So, yeah, I want to do nursing, like bedside care for a few years, especially in the emergency department. And then I want to, what's it called? Sorry, uh, I want to do real estate, or I want to do travel nursing. So, if you guys know what travel nursing is, you get paid a lot of money to travel across the country. Yes, you work like a dog, but Jesse, that's what's up. Period. What's up? Um, but I want to travel around the country, especially nationally. So as a nurse, you're able to work in countries that have a main language of English speaking only. So I want to work in the or in New Zealand or Australia in a few years, and I want to work like in the West Coast and East Coast. But when I come back to the Illinois, I want to settle down in Illinois. Chicago is like the city for me. I've been around the United States, and I haven't been to Europe, but I think I would want to settle down in Illinois. But that's just me. Everyone has their own opinions on it. Um, yeah, no, a traveling nurse. Yeah, that's like the passion. I want to do that for a few years, and then I want to come back and I want to do real estate. I developed this passion just recently. I want to do rental properties, but because I've like I've heard like, oh, you just want to be like you want to be that landlord, huh? And I'm like, nah, dude. Like, I would just make passive income to have passive income, and like this like I wouldn't even need the money really because I'm a nurse. Like I don't really need the money. I'm just like I just have property to make money for me, and it wouldn't even be that much. And I wouldn't be a dick landlord because it's like if you're not paying rent, then I'm gonna have to evict you, obviously. But if you have reason, then it's like oh, it's whatever. Like we can make a competent agreement. But like I want to have that like as a passive income, so then I could pursue other endeavors. So later on in my career, I want to be a professor. Um, I want to teach nursing students. I want to have, I guess, my personality not indoctrinated, but my personality and my type of view in healthcare put onto other students. And I want to have that like very chill vibe of like having the really good professor that I want to go to this class. And so, and like when I do pursue my career in being a professor, teachers don't make money. That's why I want to do real estate. So the money I would making as a floor nurse, I can make as a professor and it'd be fine. And I could still do traveling if I wanted to outside of work. And if I wanted to quit and just do, if I wanted to quit everything and just travel the world, then I would just travel the world. And and so like there's like so many opportunities I want to do. Um, yeah, no, like yeah, and I fixed up like my house every now and then. I would say I'm not like a handyman. I'm Filipino, so like I'm not a handyman, but I'm like kind of handyman. Like I'll just do it. Like my mom's like try fixing this, and I'm like if it breaks, it breaks, and she's like whatever. And like if you learn it and you fix it, like cool. And if you don't, it's like at least you tried, and now you can watch the guy actually fix it, and then you can learn it and actually know how to do it for the future. But yeah. So like I just my end goal, I guess, to answer your question is I want to be a professor in nursing. I want to teach the next generation of nursing students, and I want to have my personality, my knowledge, be an impact on the future generation of healthcare. That being said, that's like going to be 20, 30 years down the line. Okay, not 30. I hope it's not 30. If it's 30, I'm going to be so sad. Hopefully it's like 15 to 20. But even by then, like, we don't even know what like life is going to be like. Are we going to be fucking robots? Like, who knows? Because the technology is advancing so much, and it's kind of scary. And we don't even know like if the world will be here in that time because of how. If you guys don't believe in global warming, that's on you. But like the world is like, I guess, as an environment is changing technologically, environmentally, socially, politically, and there's just so many things that are going on. So as of right now, my goal is still on the bag, um, and I feel like that's what everyone should be like, eyes on the prize. But you do you.
Chase the bag.
Yeah, chase the bag. That's what's
Yes,
up.
sir.
Yes, sir. Sheesh.
And then big brain moves though, for sure. Having renting out a place. Yeah,
Exactly.
big
Exactly.
brain moves.
But yeah, it's so yeah. I would say also if you want to be an MD, I feel like you should try to know what you want to kind of do. Actually, I don't know. I really can't give advice for MDs. It's kind of hard because it's like, what if you don't make it? So I've heard this question. It's like, what if I don't make it to MD school? I'll just be a nurse. Like, well, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's like always difficult what you want to do in life. And if you don't make it to MD school, I feel like you'll eventually make it as long as you keep putting yourself out there, as well as like progressing yourself. Like you keep leveling up your individual, and then you'll just get in eventually. And I feel like you should have that big dick energy, assuming you'll make it in. Um, like having big dick energy, I feel like always gets you in the place. Like when I did my interview for UIC, I think we accepted 96 students at UIC for here, and there was I think a total of like 600, 700 applicants. But dude, I walked in that shit like big dick energy, and I was like, I was like, that shit was easy as fuck. And then I got like, I didn't even get waitlisted. Then again, I'm a male. Males usually tend to have it easy in the nursing career. But there were other male cohorts of mine that didn't make it in. So like, am I just a big dick energy kind of guy, or like was I actually like working hard and working well? Who knows? But I'm here, and that's all that matters. So, um, yeah. Uh, yeah. Uh.
So you want to travel like the world pretty much as a nurse, or
Um, so as in traveling around the world, you can travel like in certain countries. So I can, if I wanted to work as a nurse, I could work in Dubai. I know for a fact I can work in Dubai. I can work in um, Britain, Ireland, and Australia. You had to get like a permit, like a visa, and you had to pay like pass some exams. But like I feel like knowledge is always retainable, and you just further education and always like retaining the knowledge is good. So I'm not even impressed about that. But it's I feel like it's a good thing to have doing that. Um what was I gonna say? Yeah, like I want to travel to those countries just to work. Now, if I had like that real estate thing or I had just extra cash, I would 100% just travel the world. I even thought about like just renting, like buying a van, and because I've been at travel nursing, you don't have to live in a building. You could live wherever. They just care if you show up. So I even thought about like renting, like buying a van, and just making it like one of those like travel vans, and then just live on the West Coast for like a few months, and then just do my thing. And I would say like I like nature, and I like being out and about. And I love biking. I love just being outside. So like that I wasn't even impressed about the thought of doing it because as travel nurses can make fat money compared to like hospital staff nurses. As a travel nurse, you can make I think over like $100,000 a year easily. Easily. But then again, you lose the benefits, you lose the environment of having a work family, which I feel like it's up to you really. You what I fun fact. This is kind of bad, but it's kind of awesome. Nurses who've worked during COVID for travel nursing have made over 5,000 a week. So I actually met one of the travel nurses at my hospital, and she was like, Yeah, I'm here just chilling in Chicago for a little bit. I'm just like wanting to chill. I was like, all right, bet. It's like, you know how much I made though in Texas? So like Texas was getting fucked by COVID because they're all Republicans and they just don't wear masks, or like they just don't care, whatever, blah 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 blah. Not shitting on them. Not shitting on Republicans. If you're Republican, it is. It is what it is. Don't care. But it, the state governor and FEMA were paying nurses to work 6 days of the week for 12 hours, but they were doing like really nothing. They honestly weren't doing anything. Like they were working like at the McCormick place. And if you think like that's busy work, that's absolutely nothing. Because it's pretty much like you're working in a clinic. And so said she worked there for a few months, but each week she got paid $5,000 to $6,000 a week, and she practically watched Netflix, read books, and like just socialized because there was not enough patients coming. And if you work at the McCormick place, like a setup hospital, usually this is like the end. Usually, if there's a setup hospital, the patients who go there are going to be very acute to minimally acute, because there's no point of like sending someone who needs to go to an ICU and a setup hospital, because they don't have the equipment. What if the patient needs surgery or X-rays, blah blah blah? Like where the fuck are they going to get that? So you need to set like the basic necessities there. So the nurses are just like practically taking care of people who had the flu, not the flu, but like flu-like symptoms. Let me correct myself. And so I don't know. It's just like I wish I was a nurse 2 years ago, because I would be taking advantage of the money and income now, because the money is fucking fat. One of my friends just told me, which I don't really believe him, but I could see it, is in New York, some nurses are getting paid $400,000 a year. I don't know how true that is, but I can see it being true because it's New York City. There's a shortage of nurses. The pandemic is what was and is still hitting bad over there, and it's the ICU. So critical care, so you take what you got. But yeah. If you guys want to follow my Instagram, it's my first name, last name. Hit me up. We can also hit on LinkedIn. First name, last name. Not Agan. That's my mom's maiden name. I try to rep that. I try to rep my mom's maiden name as much as I can, because give some love to the mom. You know. But yeah. After this, I'm gonna go play some volleyball. About to have a good time. I hope you all have a good time. I'm not ending the thing. I'm just talking. I'm just talking to talk, by the way. But yeah.
Any last minute questions or?
Please.
This is just out of curiosity, but as a nurse, have you gotten a chance to like take the vaccine, or are you still like on the wait list?
I am vaccinated, baby.
Yes,
I am chilling.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sheesh. Bro, I got vaccinated hella fast. My hospital got it. I was practically, I think, like the 20th patient to do it. And then they were like, hey, you want to work the clinic for a little bit? I was like, hell yeah, I'll work the clinic. I'll get vaccinations. I'll be chilling with it. So I got that vaccine hella fast. So actually, the funny thing was, as you know, there's a very short shelf life on the vaccines. Once you take it out, you can't really put it back in, and then they die within a few hours. So it didn't work out for me. But I was like telling my nurse who was in charge of the vaccines, I was like, so what if I just like take some of these vaccines home, like between you and me, like like no one's gotta know. And she was like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, I know. I was trying my hardest, because if I took the vial, I would have took like maybe a good 5 doses, maybe 6, and I was about to hook it up with the homies, like my roommates, my parents. Well, my mom and dad first, but my mom and dad are both nurses. But it would be like I would rather give it to them first and then my roommates. But yeah, so I got vaccinated. If anyone has vaccination questions, I'm more than welcome or more than glad to talk to you about it. The symptoms for me, I was just chilling the whole day. People have been dying about it, and I'm just so surprised. I feel like, oh, let me get on this. So I got vaccinated, and my symptoms were very chill. I just had a sore arm, like it was like if I worked out the following day, and then my arm was just numb, and that's like fine. I woke up, I like rolled onto my side, and I was in an excruciating amount of pain because my weight was like on the arm, and then my arm was just swollen. But it is what it is. And I know some people because it's common now apparently that people are getting sick from the vaccine, and like I don't want to shit on them, but like it's good to have a reaction from the vaccine because you know your body's immune system is working. But I feel like a lot of people have been abusing this, I guess, growing symptom of soreness and sickness that call off sick. So a lot of hospitals have been, or not a lot of hospitals, but a hospital I know is, if you take the vaccine, you can just take the next 2 days off. And so some people would like like plan it ahead. And be like, okay, I'm gonna take these days off. And like I think they get PTO. They don't get PTO, but it's not as bad as compared to calling off sick. Because then if you call off sick, you're kind of like a dickhead. But if you need to take mental health days, if your period's so bad, I get that. I understand how bad cramps are. I did one of those like cramp things on my stomach once. That shit sucks. Um, and like I get it. So yeah, the vaccine was cool. I think people should do it. It's like the purpose of it though I feel like is more of group immunity than, or herd immunity than just individual immunity, because what I've learned is you could still transmit, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but you could still transmit the virus if you get it, but it just won't affect you severely as it would like someone who's not vaccinated. And that's like, but see the thing is, it's like, yeah. And that being said though, at this point, the virus, if anything, is everywhere. So even if like if you were to get it and it was to go to someone, I know some people have been feeling bad if they were to give it to their family members, but you need to realize, and people need to realize, it can come from anywhere. Even wearing a mask like won't help that much anymore. I mean, like I'm like I know I'm symptom free, and I know I can't be transmitting it at all because I live with the roommates who hadn't had the vaccine yet, and they're kind of like test dummies. If they get sick, they get sick, and then I would know. And I'm not saying like I'm putting them blind. They don't care. They're understandable, like our living situation. And so yeah, um, I would say it's important to get the vaccine if you can. If you choose not to, you have the obligation and right not to refuse or to accept. Um, People who shit on people for not taking the vaccine are bad people. If you're a medical professional, as a medical professional, you should advocate for it. But if you need to understand people have the right to say no. No means no. Consent is key. But yes. To Jesse and Angela, thank you, and who else? Ashley, thank you for sending me messages. I feel like I'm missing someone else. And Daniel, Diego, you can suck it. I don't know. I'll see you in like 10 minutes probably. Ramon, hello. But yeah. Also, is your professor advisor going to see this? I'm so sorry because I've been cussing and just being myself this whole time. I'm very like myself with my patients. I'll try not to swear with my patients, but if I have a patient in the emergency department who's like my age, I'd be like, dead ass, you just got fucked up for real. Like, I had a patient the other day, like he came in, like he fucked this shit up, and he's like, yeah, bro, I was biking, and then I hit this car, and I was like, dead ass, and he's like, dead ass. It's so fun to have patients who are like around our age and who are like with it, because it's just like, I can't imagine being 40 and then talking to a 20-year-old patient and being like, what's up? I'll just feel like that weird creepy uncle and just be like, no. I feel like I'm enjoying the time I have now. Okay, I just want to share that. Enjoy the youth while you still can. I'm 22. I'm not trying to sound like I'm 28 or something, but I'm just trying to enjoy this youth while I still can. But yes. Any other questions? Any other statements?
Or anything? Yeah, I guess if there's no more questions, we could end it here.
Yo, people followed me. That's what's up.
Getting the followers.
cloud kicking in. Yes, sir.
Same.
I guess that's it.
That's
If
it.
you see me in person, ever, or if you ever want us to hang out or do anything, I'm not saying like I'm like I don't have a social life or I'm like lonely, but if you ever see me or ever want to hang out, just hit me up. I'm a very people person. I love networking. I love just meeting new people. Don't hesitate to say, hey, are you Justin, that one Asian dude? I'm like, I am that Asian dude. Yes. I'm also 5'10", maybe 11 or 6 foot. Couldn't tell you. So I'm kind of hard. You can't really miss me. I have long hair now, and I'm Filipino. Kind of stick out like a sore thumb. But yeah.
So thank you. I like
Yeah.
this. This is fun.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Really
Yeah.
chill.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
The vibes are
Okay.
immaculate, so I like it.
Keep that same energy. That's all I'm saying.
Keep being
Wait,
you.
can someone talk real quick? Because I can't hear any of you.
Hello?
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 Hello,
I'm just say
Marco.
words. Just say a bunch of words. Okay,
Hello.
my thing is not
Yeah.
FGHIJKLMNOP.
okay. Well, I can't hear any of you,
Oh,
but I'm pretty sure you can all hear me.
yeah.
Am I getting the thumbs up to get the A-OK to leave? All right. I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate for having me. I hope to see you all soon. I'll see you guys all later. All right. Peace out, guys. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, I know you can hear us, but thank you. He's gone.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, you can just ask us in the chat or any last minute comments or questions. Mm-hmm. Then we should have updates on the shirts next week.
Sounds good.
Oh.